Thank you, Landon. Good evening, everyone. I have some remarks. I'm now regretting greatly not working harder in grade school on writing in verse, but we'll do what we can. And I just want to take a moment to look out because, wow, it's quite the room. It always feels like the magic of saying Canada in a room. Toronto, yes, but a lot of people from places right across the country. So we're happy to see you. Many of you are the people pushing this country to always be its best, and you're here tonight. And so make sure you get to know everyone at your table who, like you, everybody's quite extraordinary. So what's uppermost in my mind tonight is actually taking place outside of Canada. Nothing looks as consequential for Canadians as this year as the American election on November 5th. We've arrived at this tricky historical juncture. Geopolitical tensions, Russia gone rogue, new red lines around China, they're drawing us ever more closely into the US orbit, but doing so at the very moment that orbit is becoming less stable. As globalization cedes some ground to blockalization, we find ourselves inside a friend-shoring community, one still led by the United States. And our question isn't which bloc, that's obvious, but how we can matter more within our bloc, regardless of who is president of the United States. All of the friends share the need to reduce their reliance on the geoeconomic extortions of China and Russia, and fortunately, we in Canada are blessed with strategic assets like uranium, fertilizer, food, water, natural gas, clean power, and critical minerals, to name just a relevant few. And we are a frontline state in a newly and hotly contested Arctic. So, I repeat, we are not without assets, but we are without a strategy. That's why the Public Policy Forum and the Munk School of Global Affairs have teamed up in what we are calling the Matter More Project. We will design a Canada-US strategy fit for the times, one that serves Canada's national interests and seeks out points of intersection with those interests of the United States and our other allies. There's no doubt in our mind that the millions of varied transactions that occur across the border every year would be better served if housed in a contemporary version of Brian Mulroney's original free trade agreement, which, you will recall, leveraged access to our oil in exchange for access to their market. You'll hear more about this in the coming weeks, the pillars we believe a new strategy can be built on, and we are looking for and starting to find what we think are the killer apps of a strategy. As part of our early fact-finding, PPF recently visited the Heritage Foundation during a trip to Washington. I'm here, I can attest to it, and it was very interesting. Let's be under no illusions, a Trump presidency will be challenging. But for what it's worth, we found a surprising openness in that eventuality to Canada bringing forward a positive trade agenda in the early days of a new administration. As always, we need to be the initiators. So I hope some of you will come join us in this effort. We'll be working with partners like yourselves now and at least until Inauguration Day, hopefully well beyond, given that there will be a review of the new NAFTA in 2026, and we need your perspective. Now, a guiding principle of foreign policy is that it starts at home. To matter more starts at home. A Canada-US strategy starts at home. Critical minerals confer no advantage unless we get them out of the ground and into supply chains. Added Arctic vigilance requires on-time infrastructure and equipment. Today at our annual Canada Growth Summit, we rolled up our sleeves and tried to understand what can be done about Canada's sliding productivity. And there is no single answer, but the starting point is a singular focus, as with the deficit in the 1990s, and an iron will to get things done. We need to get things done and not just talk about getting them done. We need to be building faster. And if we're going to face, for instance, new tariffs over the next 4 years potentially, perhaps it would be a good time to really concentrate on finally removing those self-imposed tariffs we've erected in our own country between ourselves. I know a lot of people in this room are frustrated by how difficult it seems to explain productivity and its importance to everyone. I thought Globe and Mail columnist Tony Keller pegged it well in a piece showing how Finland enjoys the same standard of living as Canada with 200 fewer hours of work a year. In other words, if we were as productive as the Finns, we could take 5 more weeks holiday a year and still have the same standard of living. Or we could move to a 4.5-day work week and still have the same standard of living. Or we could tackle those affordability issues with higher incomes. I think people could rally around that. So the bottom line is we can't matter more without more productive capacity. Once again, no matter who is president, and we need to do it for our own good anyhow. So that's a couple of things that are on PPF's mind, and I gotta say, we believe we can get this right. Now, also on my mind tonight is what an incredible and inspiring group of honorees we get to celebrate. I'm overwhelmed by what they've accomplished and what they will continue to achieve for us. And rather than congratulate Mark and Janice, JP and Jana, Murad, Paul and Raven, I want to thank them for their enormous contributions to this country and for inspiring all of us to redouble our efforts on behalf of a better Canada. If you would raise your glasses to our honorees. Thank you. Yolanda.